first thing I just want to ask with this project is, are you familiar with Harlan's writing, as all of
Yeah.
his books and stuff like that?
Oh,
And
yeah.
and did that play a role in kind of, or how did that play a role in taking this on and collaborating with him?
Well, he is actually very generous in terms of collaboration. And I am a big fan of Harlan's books, and I've read most of his books um, prior to meeting, and I read the rest after having met him. And, he's a phenomenon. He's written 37 novels. They've all been on the New York Times bestseller list. He sells more books than anybody, and they all drive you mental, and you never know until the final page who's responsible. So they're very satisfying, and I like those. I read Elmore Leonard. I read those kind of superior genre, and he was very good about I had longish conversations before I met him on the phone about the specifics of certain lines and what would be better, and for someone of his standing to allow that kind of intricate kind of involvement was quite impressive.
Was it fun to find yourself in the middle of one of these things that drives you mental?
Yeah,
Or
no, it
was
was
it
great.
crazy?
No, I was as soon as I saw his name, I was like, oh my God, yeah, no, I was, but I got them, I got the scripts. I got the first two scripts, and I accepted the job on the strength of the first two scripts because they were just great. But then I didn't get the third one till about 2 months later, and I didn't get the fourth one. It went on and on. So I didn't
Yeah.
know the answer until, and it was driving me crazy because every now and again I thought, I know what happened. I know who did this, and then it all turned out not to be the case in the way that it's supposed to work. So
Wonderful.
yeah, it was a good day, the day that script.
So you got to experience it as it happened. I want to ask you a little bit about a project you have with Jason Statham coming up.
Oh
Have
yeah.
you already shot with him, and or are you going to soon? And what's that project like? What can you tell us?
Well, that was great, and it was in Ireland. It was great to meet Jason. He was very generous and welcoming, the whole crew and everybody. It was a very cool gig, and again, I can't tell you much about it because but I'm not a nice guy. Obviously, I don't get employed to be nice too many. Well, I do get employed to be nice, but not in that context. But it was very good, and I got to work with Jason. I got to work with Harriet Walters, who I haven't worked with, Dame Harriet Walters, lest we forget,
Yeah.
who I haven't worked with since we were both quite young. So it was great to see her, and I like genre movies, and I like I want to be people laugh. In the old days, like at press situations, people would say, when you get to my age, they say, "What's left, Bill? What do you want to do with the last 10 minutes?" And I always used to quip, that my action career was long overdue. Maybe they're getting it ready now. I don't know. Nobody's called, that kind of thing. And then I got a new American agent, and he laughed, but he also thought, well, why not? So I am actually in discussion about trying to get an action film with me as the unlikely, obviously, but I'd have to have a superpower. It doesn't have to, obviously, my age, I've got to have a superpower, but it'll only be a little. It doesn't have to be a big superpower, just a little one will do, just to account for my extraordinary reserves of energy and strength after all these years.
I love it. Wait, so I was going to ask if you and Jason fight like
Well,
that.
that would be
I got.
Yeah. I mean, my action career so far consists of me going "Wah!" like that with some kind of heavy object in my hand, and then handing it to a younger man in a wig that resembles my hair. That's my action career. I do the "Wah!" and he does all the work, which is not unfamiliar.
There's
I
still
don't, well,
time.
unless you're Jason Statham or Tom Cruise, and they do everything themselves, obviously. Uh,
True, yes.
but-
Were you a part of or around for some of the sequences of action on that one, or is your character
No, I
more
wasn't
separate?
actually. I wasn't. No, I wish I had been, but I wasn't. I was in and out, and I was, again, without telling you too much, without spoiling it. It was a nice part, and it was a cool gig, and
Yeah.
it was nice
So
to be in
action is the
Ireland.
thing left on your list, though.
Pardon?
Doing action is what's left on your list, though, like you
Oh yeah,
said.
it's the only thing on my list. I mean, if you're talking about, that horrible, I can't bear the expression, but we know which list we're talking about. Uh, you there's only really only one thing on it, which is my action career. So I'm hoping, I have a whole thing worked out, so we'll see. I mean, there's no reason why and and at my age, you'd get that very satisfying thing where the younger, the villains with the younger guys would laugh at me and say, "Yeah, all right, Grandpa," and then I wipe them out.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
always
you
good
know,
practice. You know what
there's
I mean?
definitely a good, there's a way to do it. I like your
Yeah,
idea about
there's
the
a way to do it.
superpower.
It would have to
What?
be, it would have to be funny as well. It would have to be a little bit funny.
Yes, there's a, well, with you, there's always a little, you always bring a little comedy.
Yeah, we could manage that. We could manage.
When we look back on things, holidays are coming up soon. You
Yeah,
have one of the most perennial holiday movies in your illustrious career. How do
yeah.
you feel about it every time it comes around and people start talking about it?
Well, yeah, I'm very famous at Christmas. But it's very, it's nice, because I admire the film, and the film is a good thing in the world. It's about people, looking out for one another. It's a good vibe, and I mean, everywhere. There's nowhere in the world it hasn't played. I've been everywhere, and people come up to you and say lines to you from the film. I've been in, Alaska, and somebody comes up and says, "Hey kids, don't buy drugs, become a rock star," and people give you them for free. I mean, it's like, it's universal. People have come up and said, "You helped me through my chemo." People have come up and said, we had it the night we were married, all kinds of stuff. People use it. It's a kind of mechanism,
It's
and
beautiful.
I'm very happy, apart from the fact that professionally it kind of changed everything.
Yeah. Well, I have to wrap. I'm over time. I really love talking to you. You're a real joy. And thank
My
you for all
pleasure.
your work. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.